Everyone to the loan officer sales training with the mortgage calculator. We'll wait just a second here to get started. Today we're going to be talking about how to follow up on leads, the importance of following up on leads, some different tools we can use, some ways that we can do it. So we will get into that here shortly. Give us just a second to go live on all the different platforms. Drop a comment there as you tune in. I see some people already dropping comments. We appreciate it. And we'll get started here in just a moment. And you can keep dropping comments there throughout the presentation. And you can also drop comments there. You can also drop questions in the comments there as I go through the presentation here today. So with that being said, it looks like we are live on all the different platforms, so we will go ahead and get it started. So welcome everyone. My name is Kyle Hershey. I'm the COO of the Mortgage Calculator. This is our loan officer sales training that we do every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, where we go through more of the front end of the mortgage process, talking about sales and leads and all that kind of good stuff. So today we're talking about how to follow up on leads. Now, everyone knows it's important to do. Everyone knows it's something we need to do, but we'll talk a little bit about, touch on that importance. We'll talk about the tools that we have here at the Mortgage Calculator to follow up with clients and how we should be approaching those follow-ups. So first things first here. Couple statistics here. 80% of sales require 5 follow-up calls. These are actual statistics here. So I believe they're as of 2022, but you get the point here. 80% of sales require 5 follow-up calls. Obviously, the number one thing that we say about follow-ups is what? The fortune is in the follow-up, right? And that's absolutely true. 80% of sales require 5 follow-up calls. Now, 60% of sales say no 4 times before they say yes. So hence the 5 follow-up calls there. So very important that we don't give up. And then 48% of salespeople never make a single follow-up call. So what does that mean for us here at the Mortgage Calculator? It means that as long as we're following up consistently, we're already beating out 48% of the people out there, give or take. Obviously, this is rough. But the point here is that most people, well, I guess not most, a little bit less than half people are even following up at all. So we can immediately, differentiate ourselves here based on that. And then you'll see here 6 contacts to make a sale once connected. So this is even more true here when it comes to mortgages, right? Because not only are we going to talk to them maybe 6 times, as the statistic says, before they're actually moving forward necessarily, but of course in mortgages we'll be talking to them over and over and over throughout the entire process, right? Because it's not just like a say yes and it's sold and it's done. We have a long sales process, plenty of contacts with the client in between. So very important. Fortune is in the follow-up. Some cool statistics here for you to check out and understand that if you only called them one time, you totally missed out on 80% of your sales. So think about it like that. If you don't follow up with a lead at least 5 times, you just lost 80% of your sales. So how many of you have leads that you haven't followed up with at least 5 times? There's probably some of you out there with a bunch of them, and you missed out on closing 80% of those. Now, let's talk about the follow-up tools that we have here at the Mortgage Calculator. So first and foremost, when we're following up, our main thing is to set a reminder task, right? That's the thing that should be constantly happening. There's nothing that's going to, be able to automate you giving them a call, right? And the reminder task is what's going to trigger that call. So when I say reminder task, This isn't just like, oh, hey, set myself a reminder for this. That's what's triggering the phone call follow-up, right? Which is the most important follow-up. So setting a reminder task, AKA following up with a phone call. Now, remember here at the mortgage calculator, we follow up 3 days in a row, right? Text, email, phone call, 3 days in a row. And then at that point, we set the task out to call them at least once per month. And then we would put them on an action plan. So setting the reminder task, there's always a reminder task set. Remember, just like our lead trainings, we talk about no lead left behind, right? Every lead is pushed into the future with a reminder task. So setting a reminder task, first day, second day, third day, a month out, and then a month out, and keep setting that reminder task to follow up. And again, if they don't answer in those first 3 days, we're going to put them on an action plan. So action plan is what we call, drip campaigns. That's another name for them. Here at the mortgage calculator, we call them action plans. So if they don't answer those first 3 days or respond, we're going to put them on an action plan. That way the system will follow up for us. But remember, the system is not going to call them. You're going to need to set a reminder task to actually call them. The system can email them and text them from you. It's going to email them from your email and text them from you all over the course of years when you put them on an action plan. But the system can't call them for you. There is no substitute for setting a reminder task and following up with a phone call. And then the best way to follow up, which is very unique here at the mortgage calculator that we love, is our quoting system. The best way to follow up is by re-quoting their scenario. Think about this. Other loan officers are just harassing them. Are you ready? Are you ready? They're trying to pull their credit. Let me pull your credit, all this kind of stuff. But we're just following up with their exact scenario with the pricing so they have actual information, right? So re-quoting is the best follow-up tool that we have here at the mortgage calculator. And on the next slide, you'll see why. But those are the 3 main tools that you should be using every single day: setting reminder tasks, putting people on action plans, re-quoting scenarios. This is a daily thing here. So now let's talk about how we actually follow up here, right? So when we follow up, we want to follow up with value. And this goes for any sales, but today we're talking about mortgages, and more particular mortgages at the mortgage calculator. Now, following up with value, what does that mean? We're actually talking to them about something. We're not just harassing them over and over. We are following up with something of value. That's where those quotes come in, right? We're providing value. We're providing an update on their scenario. We're showing them that, hey, we took the time to re-quote your scenario there, right? So just very important to make sure that we have something. This also may take form in, especially on a more like commercial loan or a fix and flip or something. Maybe there's a new outlet that we have, a new loan program that we have. Maybe there's some new guidelines that change. So when you get this information, when you get, say, emails from our account executives announcing new programs, when we tell you on the meetings, or when we have some of our account executives come on our team meetings and talk about some new cool products, you should always be thinking, who does this apply to, or who could this apply to? And so I could use this as a follow-up reason, right? Is there somebody I've been talking to about fix and flips that had no seasoning, or just anybody I've been talking to about fix and flips in general? And there's a new fix and flip program, or there's one of our lenders or investors that came out with some new kind of game-changing guidelines on fix and flip. You should be going into the CRM and you should be following up with the people and use that as the reason to provide value, to say, hey, this was just announced. I thought of you. This may help you. etc., etc. So a reason to follow up with them, right? Now, not only is that a good reason to follow up, but it's also, going to help you stay in touch with your clients. Now, following up with actionable items here. Actionable items, what do we mean? Something that they can move forward with. So really, we're more so talking about when we're quoting them, right? When we follow up with the quoting system, every single quote has an actionable item. So even if you're following up with them in some type of other way, that follow-up should always result in another quote, whether you've sent a quote to them already or you haven't. And that is what we're going to use. Not only that initial quote has an actionable item, but every single quote after that has an actionable item. And by actionable item, I mean something that the client can actually click to move forward, which is what's great about our quotes. They can click that button, move right on to filling out their application, uploading their documents and all that. So we kind of do that for you here at the Mortgage Calculator and provide you that avenue of following up with actionable items. Now, if it's not a application that they need to fill out or something that's quotable, then you should still in your manual email with them have some kind of process of submit here or etc., right? There should be something there for them to always take action on. And then the last follow-up point that I wanted to make here is to follow up for referrals, right? So this is something that is not taken advantage enough. This is probably the least taken advantage thing I would say in our business is especially for newer loan officers. More experienced loan officers typically have built up a huge referral business. And a lot of the times that's sometimes only what they do, right? But especially for newer loan officers, understand that when you close a loan, you need to use any excuse to follow up with them. So not only when you close the loan and you talk to them and say it's closed, congratulations, all that kind of stuff. Of course, you want to ask for referrals then, right? But also one cool thing at the Mortgage Calculator is our closing gifts, right? So when you close a loan with somebody, they get sent the email from our closing gift bot. The bot asks them questions about the type of things they like. It then automatically sends them a gift from the Mortgage Calculator in a cool little box, and it sends them things like maybe a shot glass and a water bottle, or like a little mini speaker and a reusable, whatever, just little gifts, that we send to them as their closing gift based on the type of things that they said that they're interested in. So as the loan officer, you need to use this as an excuse to follow up as well, an excuse, a reason, whatever it is you want to call it, and say, hey, we sent you a closing gift. Did you get it? And usually they're going to be so thankful and say, yeah, that was so great. And, these gifts it's maybe like 50 or $100 or something like that, maybe a cutting board or whatever the couple little gifts that we send them is, depending on what they told the bot that they're interested in. It kind of selects gifts and curates a gift box for them. Even if it's not the most expensive thing and there's something they're going to use all the time, it's usually just the gesture that they appreciate, and you want to cash in on that goodwill, right? If you just let us send the closing gift and not follow up with them, you're missing that opportunity to cash in on that goodwill. You need to do it right then while they're happy that the loan closed, they're, moving in or just moved into their new house, or they just got that cash out because you did a cash out for them and now they got a bunch of money in their bank. They're feeling good. You even sent them a gift and were thinking about them and thoughtful. That's when you got to cash in on that goodwill. Those feelings are lost over time. So the longer you take to follow up with them, the less of that feeling that they have of goodwill and reciprocation. You gave them something. The law of reciprocation says that they now feel obligated to give you something back in some way. So when you call them and say, hey, I'm so glad we did a great job on your file. We got that closed. We sent you a closing gift. Did you get it? that is when you sent them something. So not only did you provide them a service, but you sent them something for free, and they're going to feel some type of obligation to you naturally, even without even knowing it, right? And so, subconsciously, that's how people feel when you give them things. They feel the law of reciprocation. So at the end of the day, my point here is that you got to strike while the iron's hot, strike while they have that feeling of gratitude and that feeling that they should reciprocate in whatever way they can. And of course, the way that they can reciprocate is to refer you business, do more business with you, or refer anyone who may be looking for a loan in some type of way. So again, very important to follow up. Look at it this way. If you got leads you haven't called 5 times, you're missing out on 80% of your sales. We want to make sure we use the tools that we provide here at the Mortgage Calculator. Set your reminder tasks. Never stop setting reminder tasks to make phone calls. Make sure to use the action plans when people are, not responding or tell you that they need more time. Make sure to put them on those action plans so that we stay top of mind. You're going to email them and text them automatically through the system over time. But again, there is no substitute for setting the reminder task to call. So no matter how many people you have on action plans with the system automatically following up for you, there's never a replacement for you to call them. And what triggers those calls is to set a reminder task. You can't just remember to call people, right? You're all talking to hundreds or thousands of clients. The only thing that's going to make you call that person back again and follow up is the reminder task that you had set for yourself. And then make sure to take advantage of requoting their scenarios, asking them if there's any other scenarios that you could quote for them, etc., etc. And then remember, always follow up with value. A big thing here that I want to reiterate, that I want people to just be thinking about at all times, is when you see something new, something of value that could be of value to your client, some new program, some new guidelines, some new LTV, new credit score requirements, they lowered the credit score requirements or they hired the LTV, go through your CRM. Now, here's the best way to do it. Let's say that there is a new guideline for a fix and flip, right? Well, you can go into your CRM, and what's really cool about our CRM is when you're searching people, not only can you search for them, searching for your clients in your CRM, not only can you pull them up by their name or email or phone number, but you can also type in notes. So I would recommend using that anytime you feel like there's something of value that you may have spoken to clients about before. Go into that note, go into the contacts, and in that search bar, click search by notes and put in fix and flip or whatever it is. And all the clients where you have notes on that client saying fix and flip or whatever it is you're searching, those will pull right up. So always be thinking about that. And the real easy way to execute that is say, okay, there's these new guidelines for, manufactured homes. Great. Let me type in manufactured homes, right? And all of the clients I've been talking to, because when I'm talking to them, I'm taking good notes on what they're looking for. So there should be, if I'm doing my job correctly, there should be plenty of notes on that client with the words manufactured home, right? So pull that up and start contacting all of those people and saying, hey, I just thought of you because we just increase the LTV on manufactured homes, or now we do single wides instead of only double wides. Whatever the situation may be, always be thinking about that. I really want to plant that idea in your head here on this training of always be thinking about, is this something I could use to follow up with people, my thing of value and my way to follow up with them for a reason, and let them know that you're thinking of them, right? Hey, I saw this and I thought of you. I know we talked about previously doing a cash out. There might not have been enough equity, but we just raised the LTV 5%, right? And so now this is probably feasible for you. When I heard about this new announcement, the first thing I thought of was you. So I wanted to reach out to you and give you the opportunity to take advantage of it. Okay, let's see here. Looks like we have a couple questions or at least comments. Let's see here. I'm not sure exactly what that question means, but let's go to a different one here. Freddie, I guess just good feedback here. Freddie says setting reminder tasks and following up changed my whole career. It's just too hard to remember every single thing when you really get going. Exactly. When you have so many leads, especially for loan officers at the mortgage calculator, you all know how many leads that we give you on a constant basis. So there's just no way to keep track of it besides making sure you have those reminder tasks set, making sure you have an action plan set if applicable. Let's see here. Okay, the no answer option automatically sends them a text and email. Then after we click on no answer, do we set a follow-up? Do we do a follow-up task? Yeah, exactly. So you want to set a follow-up task to give them a call. Of course, if they're an opted-in lead, right? If they're a cold call or, a realtor cold call or whatever the, cold call list may be, there won't be a no answer button there. And so at that point, you wouldn't be setting a reminder task because you typically wouldn't do that with a cold call. But all those opted-in leads we have in there, absolutely, you can go ahead and set a follow-up task for them because you're calling a real opted-in lead. So we want to make sure that we follow up with them. Cold calls don't really need to follow up with, right? You could if you want, but we're just usually giving them a call once, seeing if there's something going on. But when you're calling those real leads that we've already paid for that opted in, at that point, you want to make sure you're always following up with them. All right. I don't see any other questions or comments here. Again, I really hope that, keep that in mind. Make sure you have everything set. Make sure you're setting your reminder task to give them phone calls, and make sure to keep in mind that, you want to think about clients all the time and think if there's a reason that you could follow up with them. And then almost most importantly, once you close a loan, follow up for referrals, not only right as the loan's closing or after the loan closes, but also once you wait about 2 weeks after the closing, they will receive that closing gift from us. So at that point, you can follow up with them again. You should have already asked them for referrals and been talking to them, but about that 2-week mark is when they receive that closing gift, which at the end of the day gives you another reason to follow up. So thank you everybody for tuning in. Remember, we do this 12 p.m. Eastern every weekday where we go through the front end of the sales for leads and all that kind of good stuff. We got some great topics for the rest of the week here. I appreciate everybody tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow, 12 p.m. Eastern, for the next episode of the Loan Officer